Fauci already coming in with the instrument selections. I love it. Morning to you all. In fact, that could be good. Let me know. Any of you that are in here now to start chucking them out there, and I'll make sure to get to them. Howdy, howdy. Morning. That's relaxed weather here in South Carolina. It is snowing in southern South Carolina. Very strange. TR, good morning. Hot in Melbourne, Australia. I'd love to visit Australia. All right, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Hope you all are doing fine. Let's get into it. As always, this is not financial advice. The information on this channel is provided for education, informational purpose only, without any express implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. All right, so go into the charts, but here in a second, I'm going to start out with what I said in the actual, thumbnail and everything. I really want to get into and go into the structure piece and how I actually look to enter the entries and things like that, because I think that I go over broad things very often, but I forget to get down into the entries a lot. So when am I actually looking to get in, and what is my decision-making process in getting into the market? I have a few different ways of entering, and that is going to be through discretion, 1. 2, I have very objective ways of viewing things like structure, and I have like a little checklist in my head that I go through and like what I'm waiting for. And the reason that I'm waiting for these things to happen is because it's kind of like the process the market has to go through before it actually starts moving in a direction. So, if we have a high and a pullback and a high and a lower low, what process does the market need to go through now before it actually continues to go lower? And that is going to come in the form of things like 3 pushes. And then after the third push, what kind of happens after this? Well, it needs to make an attempt to go lower, and then it needs to make an attempt to go higher, and then it needs to make an attempt to go lower and succeed. And then usually that is where it's going to continue to go in a direction. So what is the entry criteria? What is my entry process? Number 1, I'm going to have a 15-minute setup. So that is what we're going to be going over, or signal in general, right? So that's what we're going over in the streams, is what kind of signals do I have that will lead to a setup? And then I'll explain the setup here in a second. What is the actual setup? So I need a 15-minute setup, which is also could be like a signal, right, for that day. That's like your first reds, your first greens, your templates, your inside bars, all those different things. All right, so that's number 1. Number 2 is going to be a break in structure, or just structure in general. All right, so if I have a market that is making higher highs and higher lows, and yesterday was first red day, I need it to make a lower low. And I'm talking about on the day itself. So we had, let's say that yesterday was first red day and it did something like this, and then I got my little dotted line to show that the day has separated. And then I come to the screen, and this is what's happening on the day itself. I'm usually going to be looking at this on a 5-minute chart. All right. I like the 5-minute a lot. It not only is good for structure and things like that, but also, since we are day trading, it gives nice short-term movements that are very clean. And I can just, oh my goodness, I've deleted everything. All right, here we go. For all of you that are wanting to copy this down. All right. Structure, 5-minute. If it deletes it again, I'm going to lose it. There we go. So I'm looking at this on the day itself to see, hey, we're making higher highs and higher lows on the 5-minute chart. And then there's my lower low. Now I can actually look for the setup. So what is the setup? What am I actually looking for to consider this a setup? And that's where you've maybe heard me say I'm looking for long squeeze or short squeeze setups. A short squeeze setup to me would be lower low, higher high, higher low. So at the completion of this higher low being formed, now I can look for a short squeeze setup to go back up through the high and complete the move wherever it's going to go. Long squeeze setup would be lower low, lower high, and at the completion of the lower high, I'm getting in for the squeeze. Something that Al Brooks talks about, and many other people talk about as well, is depending on how you view the market and how you believe that it's moving around or whatever, it really doesn't matter. The idea, though, that the behavior of the charts, or the whole entire chart is a reflection of human behavior, is where the squeeze kind of comes from. So whenever this lower low forms, this is essentially shorts taking over, and then longs trying to get back up into the high, and then getting trapped on the way back up to the high. And as it starts to follow through back down to the downside, those longs are now giving up, and the shorts continue to take over. And as the longs exit their positions and maybe even get stopped out, the market can now capitulate and go vertical to the downside. Same thing with going long. If I've got a long or a short squeeze setup, the shorts are getting squeezed out because these are the shorts trying to get back down to the low. And then as those shorts are giving up, the market continues to accelerate and go vertical to the upside. So that's kind of the setup. Long squeeze, short squeeze, lower low, lower high. I'm sorry. Higher high, higher low, lower low, lower high. All right. So structure. After the structure piece, we get a break in structure, or even a break of, right? So maybe a part of a trend. I'm going to look for those 3 pushes. And the 3 pushes is just simply this kind of how the market moves around, right? So whenever there is a structural break, a higher high or a lower low, coming out of a box or a rectangle, there is going to be some kind of pullback eventually where they come back in some kind of 3 push pattern. Now, this 3 push pattern can show up on a 15-minute. It doesn't matter. The market's fractal. Everything happening on a higher time frame is happening far more frequently down on a lower time frame. So let's say that I get a break in structure on a 5-minute chart. I can look for 3 pushes back up on that 5-minute chart. I can look for 3 pushes back up on the 1-minute chart. It really depends on the context and what's happening. 3 pushes is very subjective, but once you see the same kind of 3 push patterns over and over again, you'll start to see a bit of a pattern, and it becomes a little bit less subjective and more discretion, and you've just seen those patterns over and over again, which will help you quite a bit. All right, so 3 pushes. Now, after I get 3 pushes back up or down, whichever way, I'm going to look for a chart pattern of some kind. All right, basically a new peak formation getting put in place. So I've got this little drawing over here. So I've got a lower low and 3 pushes. Now, once I get up over here into the creation or the formation of that lower high, I'm going to look for a descending triangle. I'm going to look for a double top, engulfment. Essentially, I just need one of these patterns to get engulfed to the downside so that I can take my entry. All right, so if I get a double top and an engulfment, I'm going to take the double top engulfment to the downside, put maybe a buy or a sell stop, below that bar, and then as the market moves through it, I'll get in. All right, so a chart pattern, I'm going to take that entry, and then as far as stops go, I'm going to look at my 3 push pattern. So after the completion of the 3rd push, I can look and say, hey, there's the 1st, there's the 2nd, there's the 3rd. Traps should be above push 2, and when the market explodes back down through there, those people should be trapped. I get into the market, I put my stops above push 2, and then target wherever. Okay, and I can go and find an example of this pretty much anywhere in the chart. I'll use a 1-minute chart just because it will be easier to find a structural break. All right, so there's a higher high. We've got lower lows, lower highs. Let's see, this is all in a 1-bar range. They went a little bit lower over here. Did they pull back enough? Yeah, so this is a low. Good. And then here is a high. Now, this is a 1-minute chart, of course. So there's a lower low, and then there's your break in structure. This is the higher high. So what I would do now is I would wait and see, okay, 3 pushes. Big, 1, 2, 3 to the low. I could say, okay, maybe this is the first push in one leg, or maybe it's going to be another push down or a leg down. I can also use the time, and that will help as well. So let's say that I said, hey, this is a good 3 push pattern. It's a good 1, 2, 3. And then once they get back down, I have a double bottom engulfment, and I can get in on this bar. And that's exactly what I would do. And wherever this trade's going to go, holding on. You can do this on a 5-minute chart. Okay. Let's see. This is not going to work because 5 was a little too long on this one. Sometimes the 5 is even, a little bit longer. Too long of a time frame. You just have to go along with the trend of things. Here we go. So here is a 5-minute chart. Was making higher highs and higher lows, broke down, made a lower low, and then popped back up in 3 peaks. And then engulfed to the downside. Perfect. Either one of these entries is great. Either this one here or this one here, because we had the lower low and the pop-up, 1, 2, 3. And the timing worked out well as well, because this is in the New York session. This was the news, and then the retest of the high 3 times, and then the continuation. All right. Cool. Anybody have any questions with this? Does this help at all with entries? Because that's the process that I go through. There's nothing special about it. It's nothing crazy. Okay, we're going to go starting out with the NASDAQ as always. I'm going to start looking at the 3-day cycle, those signal days, and also the weekly templates. Monday, opening range for the week. We had a breakout. Let's see here. We have peak formation high now, peak formation low, and a continuation to go higher. All right, so first thing that I've noticed is number 1, peak formation high, peak formation low. We've broken out. We're continuing to go higher. Is this, how many weeks do we have going up in a direction? So this is the first week going back up in a direction. So what does that tell me? That tells me that the fact that we have 3 sessions of breakout right now, the possibility, the probability of this trade setup going back to this level is lower, because we could just be in a parabolic vertical move to the upside. Okay. However, peak formation high, peak formation low, we triggered the low, and then we've broken back up to the upside. 3 sessions of breakout would be the setup that I would need to be looking for, because that's the only template that I have. This peak formation high, peak formation low, I would have needed to have a consolidation in the middle, which did happen right here. And then I would need a vertical move to come out of that, and then I would have taken that trade based off of peak formation high, peak formation low. But now the template has evolved. I've got 3 sessions of breakout, so I need to focus on that. So I'm going to go down to the 5-minute chart. I'm going to identify my high before the session began, which looks like it was this pin here. They pulled back in 2 bars. This looks good. So this is my high. This is my low. So I would need to see a lower low be formed, a pullback, and then look for an entry. All right. So I've got breakout traders back down at previous day's high. Let's see. Here would be, I've talked about this setup quite a bit, but if anybody here is new, there's the base. Here's your space for the market to fall back through to get back down to that level. As far as like a good ramp up into the high, there's not a really solid good ramp. But I'm going to re-emphasize again, this is the first week breaking back out to the upside. So there's a high probability that this is a strong pull to the upside, vertical continuation to the upside. So I'm going to be very careful about trying to counter trend this, because I don't want to jump in front of a train. Okay. 3 sessions of breakout. In fact, let me pull this up. For anybody that might be new here and they're like, what the heck is this guy talking about? I think it's better to do things with pictures. So this is, after 3 or 4 weeks of breakouts, usually after 2 or 3 days of breakouts, This is the kind of the setup that we're looking for. Asia breaks out. You get 3 sessions. There's different variations. This would be like a high put in place, base, space, retest of the high, and the breakdown. This is a good 3 peaks pattern. There's the base, the space, and a 3 peaks pattern. 1, 2, and 3. And then this is, again, base, space, and 3 peaks, but the 3 peaks look a little bit different. So that's kind of what we're looking for, what I'd be looking for. And coming to this and looking at this, none of those variations really stick out to me. I would have to say that maybe a 3 peaks, but there's not a good solid 3 peaks. All right. So let's go to US 30. Still on a 15-minute chart. Weekly template. Breakout, peak formation high, peak formation low, and again, vertical breakout to the upside. So this is, we've got a lot of days of breakouts on US 30 to the upside. Let's zoom out a little bit and see. All right, so we've been breaking out. This was breakout week 1 last week, and I think a first green week. And then that brings us into this week, which was sideways consolidation, spike the high, spike the low, and then breakout day 1 to the upside. Again, so breakout day, I'm going to project this level across. And then now, so after breakout day 1, what would I have been looking for? I would have been looking for 3 levels of drop, back down to previous day's breakout level. For a trend trade, essentially, they pull back to that level, and then they continue to go higher. Except now, instead of doing that, I don't have 3 levels of drop. They just continue to go higher, which is fine. So I'm just going to mark off my high and my low. There's my high. My low is going to be down over here. And this is the level that I would focus on. I'm just going to watch and see, how do they behave around that level? Do we start working the high? Has the template evolved? Are we going to work the high and then start to break back down? We'll see. But that's the only thing that I could do or look for as far as an actual reoccurring setup, because that's going to come off the high of the week. But we're in breakout to the upside, so that would be quite counter trend. Okay. All right, as far as 3-day cycle goes, we had a reset. So this was day 1. Today's day 2. Tomorrow will be day 3. But today is day 3 of the week. As far as signal days go, I don't have any. This was a reset of 3 days of breakouts. Just making sure, kind of going through all of the steps, not seeing anything else. Okay, oil. All right, this has been going unidirectional for a few days. So we had an inside bar on Friday. Actually, this is a double inside day. And then a breakout back down to the downside. So we had a breakout and then a breakout back down. So on Monday, we got breakout day 1, looking for 3 levels of rise coming off of previous day's low. It gives that in Asia, it looks like, and continuation. So this is breakout day 1, breakout day 2. So I don't have breakout day 3. All I have is 2 days of shorts triggered into the market. So I'll put that up here. But we're in breakout to the downside. So maybe looking for 3 levels of rise coming off of the low. Put us back up here. That'd be 3 levels of 50. All right. It's already kind of broken down from that. I'm going to project this level across. Again, 3 levels. Also, the market only does 3 things. We had a lower low over here. And then a higher high. Not to say that this is going to play out for today. Hey, Starlord, if you want me to review currency pairs, just let me know which ones, and I will be happy to do them. It's looking like, so far, indexes in oil are not, they're not looking perfect. We got 2 days of shorts, maybe a higher high on the inside of the week. Except this is up pretty high. All right. Yeah, I don't know if I like this either. Let's go to gold. Ooh, okay. On currents, it's even crazier. What do you mean crazier? Like poor quality, ICLA? It is the beginning of the year. You know, January, February time. We might see some better templates once we start getting into the year, February. You know, usually December, January timeframe is a little nasty. All right, so I'm on gold. We had a breakout that failed on Monday. That's going to reset the cycle, day one. Then we get day two, a breakout and a trend away from day one lows. And then now today is day 3 of the cycle. And also day 3 of the week. All right. So day 2, I'm going to project this level across. The breakout level was back over here, opening range. And then now we're broken out again. We have 3 sessions of breakout, but we have a retest of the previous day's high. Okay, so this is a low to a higher high to a lower low. And then a big push. And a pin. All right, signal days wise, we had breakout day 1. So again, breakout day 1, looking for 3 levels of drop. Obviously, that didn't happen. We're just up high at the high of the current week. We got a lower low and a pin. I like this pin. I wouldn't mind watching this. Out of everything so far, this is probably my best option as of yet. Let's take a look. Maybe this. All right, we've got breakout week 1, 2, 3. And then now we're up high on day 3. Got a little bit of ramped price action over here as well, ramping us up into the high. And a peak formation high being formed. It's already falling away, though. That's unfortunate. All right, so what I'm trying to process right now is signal days. No, not really. I don't have 3 days breakouts. I don't have an inside day. I don't have a first red or first green. 3-day cycle-wise, it is day 3, so that's good. It's also day 3 of the week. So the only thing that I could possibly be looking for is maybe a high of week reversal. And as of right now, like we already have a peak formation high in place. And on the 15-minute chart, this is even more appealing. Get the 1, 2, 3 back up. If we get an engulfment here, maybe not bad. However, this is in breakout to the upside, so you have to take that with a grain of salt. Yeah. I think this is all I can do for this one, too. I'm not going to look for something that's not there. I've already given the options. I know what the options are. If you're confused about the options, let me know, and I will go back and re-explain better. Okay, Russell. Looking pretty much exactly like the other indexes. We're back at the high of the week again. This looks kind of trashy, too. What's our news calendar looking like today? Anybody have that pulled up? Want to give me the times for the news if there is any? No news? Good stuff. I appreciate that, John and Luca. Okay, currency pairs. I saw a few people toss out some currencies, and I also saw silver and copper. Okay, I'm on silver. Let's look at the facts. Okay, what are the facts? We had Monday, opening range of the week. Tuesday, breakout day 1. Looking for 3 levels of drop. Project this level across every single time. I'm going to look at structure on the day. I'm going to look at what 3 levels of drop would mean or where it could come from. If they had not already triggered previous day's high and extended it higher, where would I be measuring back down to? But they have extended it higher. So I need to look and see. There's my high. There is my low. And that is my box. Let's see. So it's the same thing as always. You know, we have 3 peaks, but are they working the low or are they working the high? And at 9:30 we'll see. But if they're working the low, this could turn into a trend opportunity. But if it starts to break down lower low, lower high, which kind of feels like what's happening, but I can't be sure until 9:30. Still really just not my favorite. You know, there's certain templates that really stand out to me and just make me happy, you know, and this is probably not one of them. Kind of wondering if this is like the low of day snowplow, like for the pump and the dump back down. All right, what was the other one you said? Copper. I'm just waiting for one of these pairs that I click on that you all give me to be the, wow, this is amazing. It's day 3 and this looks perfect. There's copper. Okay, so this copper, now copper's down low within the week. How many weeks up is it? Breakout week 1, 2, failed. Close. Very close. No worries. So we had a day 1 of the cycle, I think on Tuesday. I think this is a watching day. The more that I look shaky, the more I feel that as well. I hate when I do these live streams and I don't have anything, you know, productive for you all, but I think the most productive thing that I can say right now is that I might be sitting this one out, this day out. If it's not there, I don't force it. I'm more than happy to go and, I'll put in little air quotes, go play in the snow, you know, instead of taking trades today that I don't need to be taking. Especially me being from Florida, I don't see snow that often. So I'll go goof off, maybe. All right, this is copper. I don't see it here either. All right. Let's see. Does anybody have any currency pairs that they see that they actually like? Anything that you actually like? I'm gonna walk through the currencies real quick. Let's see. If I click on one that catches my attention, I'll stop and take a look. Breakout day 1, breakout day 2-ish, maybe 3. Take the dog out in the snow. They'd actually never seen snow until today. We let them out. They went out. They walked around in it, goofed off for like 2 seconds, and then they were done. Like, whatever. You guys are ridiculous. EJ. I live in Canada. It's freezing. Oh my goodness. I can imagine. That's not for me. All right, here's dollar yen. Let's take a look. Consolidation, peak high, peak low. Now we've got, this one's got peak formation high and low, and then we've got consolidation in the middle. But the pattern is kind of, how do I put this nicely? Trash. Garbage. Disgusting. Mexican peso. Good Lord. Okay. Certified dumpster juice. All right. You said EJ? I'll make sure to stop when I get there. You're Australian. No. No. I think I saw someone say dollar Swiss as well. Oh, no. No, no, no. All right. Euro, pound. I used to really like this pair. This used to be one of my favorite pairs when I was trading currencies. I thought it was a lot of fun to trade. There was a lot of days where I had just really clean price movements. Euro pound. Okay, so we have peak high, then we get an inside day. They triggered the low. And we're back down at the low. This is Friday. At a breakout day. The only problem with this is, you know, we had this first red-ish. It's really just a narrow. It's kind of a first red, though. It's just so, there's so many wicks. No. Euro, yen. This is pretty much the same as everything else that we've looked at, unfortunately. We got the inside day, the breakout. So with this inside bar, remember the only 3 things that I'm looking for, or the only 2 things really, the only 2 templates that I would look for is if this had gone into consolidation like this and then worked its way up in 3 peaks and then triggered this at a certain time of day, 9:30. That's where I would be looking for that reversal, and that would be perfect to me. Or I would be looking for breakout pullback and then looking for the range expansion of that inside bar to the upside. I don't really think this is set up for either. I think it was set up for that in London. Breakout pullback, higher high, 3 pushes back down into the low, and an engulfment, 345. That's beautiful. I bet you on the 5 minutes, it's even more clean. Oh, yeah, that's... Look at that. 1, 2, 3 to the low. Just kidding. Breaks back above the second push. Doesn't ever look back. Perfect. All right. We'll go down. Euro... Is this New Zealand? Euro USD. Breakout pullback. Nothing good. Australian pairs. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not looking good for today. Oh, hold on. Is this a CAD Swiss? Okay, this is a little interesting. This one doesn't look completely trash. Peak formation high, peak formation low, consolidation in the middle. End of day consolidation breakout. So this is peak high, peak low template. Consolidation in the middle. Rectangle breakout to the downside. Is it working the low? Is it working the high? Right now, maybe working the low, but also could possibly just be in maybe something like this. Not bad. Look at platinum and natural gas when you're done. All right, I'm going to come back there in 2 seconds. This is actually the same, kind of the same. Peak high, peak low, consolidation. Maybe about to make a lower low, but not still. That pattern's a little wonky. I'm really searching. I'm trying, everybody. Trying to find the best one. Even in the currency pairs. I'm just not seeing it. All right. You said platinum. Do I even have platinum on here? Platinum and what? Nat gas? First red day, day one breakouts to the downside on Friday. Gap down on Monday. Why does this look so jacked up? I got destroyed on EU during London. Stopped me out, blasted through the high. Price around the end of the first hour of London. Maybe talk about what I did wrong. Miko. I'd love to do that. Hey, what's the ticker for platinum? Was it PLT or something? I guess I could just type it in instead of... No. This isn't one of the templates I look for either, unfortunately. Had a breakout day. So, for example, right? Breakout day. We could say, hey, this is breakout day one. Now, this was Monday, Tuesday, so this was, I think, yeah, so breakout day one, measure down. This is also first green day. All right, so you measure down. Didn't complete the pattern on this day, so maybe it's going to be on the following day. And they did come down and complete the pattern on this day. So this is perfect, Monday, Tuesday. But that leads us into today, and I just don't think... Like, yesterday was good. Yeehaw, perfect. Dumps back down into the low. This is a really clean peak formation right into the beginning of a session. Lower low. Higher high. Dumps down. 1, 2, 3. So I'm guessing on a 5-minute chart, this probably was really clean. And then look how the bars pull. Not a lot of overlap. And pulling. That's a channel. And a continuation breakout towards the upside. That's perfect. Does not resemble that even in the slightest. There would have to be a lot of things to happen for me to believe that this would be good. All right, you got destroyed on EU. Let's go to EU, and I will take a gander. I'll take a stare. EU. All right, and you said in London. All right, so I can already, just by looking at this, you were entering in consolidation. Who said this? Miko? Hey, so go back and review price action in general, but also just start studying 1 bar ranges, 1 bar trading ranges. I'm telling you, the discovery of what a 1 bar trading range is really, really changed things for me quite a bit, because it keeps me from entering in consolidation nearly as much. Sometimes I miss things like this, but for the most part, I pull up a chart and I see this, I'm not going to enter because it's pointless. All of this in here is garbage. Once that bar formed, all of this is nonsense. You could just take a green box or a red box or anything and just do this. Because all of that on the inside it's fake. It doesn't exist. I can't remember which videos that I had on them. It's something that I learned from Al Brooks, though, Mike, about just price action in general. 1 bar trading ranges. So the reason it's nonsense, Fugazi, yep, is because once this bar formed and broke down, all of this, especially after it's been extended for a long period of time, is just not good. So that's number one. Number two, were you I'm guessing you were going short, Miko? Oh, wait, you were going long. Well, at least you have the direction, right? I don't understand what you... How did you get stopped out? Around the end of the first hour. Okay, so we had... Oh, all right, well, if you're trying to go long at the very least... so let's... Before you tell me, before I look, I'm just going to do this. We got a higher high. Okay, peak, peak, peak. Comes back down, starts making lower lows and lower highs again. Which means that I would need to wait for a higher high. So this low, the reason I've just done this, 1 minute chart, doesn't matter. There's a higher high. They came back, they made a low, they made a second, they made this lower low, right? So we've got lower lows, lower highs. I need a higher high if I want to go long. There's my higher high. It pulls back in 3 bars, which looks good. Push, push, push. Look at second push. Look at the engulfment and how that presents. There's the engulfment. This would be the bar that I'm entering on, or should be entering on. End of first hour, though. Let's see. Okay, so you're entering in when they were still making lower lows and lower highs on the 1 minute chart. Miko. It went up here and this was all fine and dandy, but then it broke down and started going back down. So I would have needed to wait. And this is a pretty good squeeze pattern as well. 3 pushes into the low, a little ascending triangle pattern. One thing that I do with my ascending triangles, and I try to look for this consistently, is I really like it. This little spike outside of the triangle, and then it pulls back and consolidates. This lets me know that the first mouse is already in, and that's great. So that way on the second breakout, I'm allowed to enter. Larger stop. Yeah, you could use a larger stop, use smaller size, but I'm usually only going to do that if I enter on the 5. The whole point of using the 1 is me being able to get in large-ish. All right, but that's just for me personally. You know, if you want to, you do it your own way. Don't listen to what I'm saying. Again, pull. Let's toss this up here. You know, you do whatever you think is best. But anybody have any other questions, comments? Hopefully this stream has still been productive and beneficial, even if it hasn't been necessarily amazing for today. As far as like, hey, there's great things to be trading today. You know, it's not always going to be like that. Unfortunately, I wish it was. But sometimes this happens where I look at the chart and I say, this all looks like absolute trash. And then you know what happens? Or what used to happen is I would say that, and then I would go trade anyways, and then I would get destroyed. And then I would talk to myself after and be like, dude, what were you doing? You know, you knew that it was a bad day, and you did it anyways. What are you doing? So this is it's good for me because it's like, hey, you get to do other things today. Maybe go do some woodworking or go to the gym, you know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all have enjoyed. I hope this has been beneficial to at least a few of you. If it has, before you go, could you hit the like button on the stream? Because it does help me out quite a bit. I really appreciate it. You all have a great day, and I will see you on Friday, same time, 8 a.m., and a video this weekend, as always. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.